I am resident of Colorwood for YouTube, Joel Staines. That is my buddy Butch Rosenbalm. We are here to talk the movie The Gunfighter, starring Gregory Peck. He is here. This movie is directed by Henry King, screenplay by William Bowers and William Sellers, story by William Bowers and Andre DeTooth, produced by Nunley Johnson. I'm not making that name up. Music is by Alfred Newman. 20th Century Fox released this, distributed this bad boy. It was released back in June 23rd, 1950. Its budget was 10950-000. Butch, when did you first see The Gunfighter?
I saw this actually not long after Tombstone. So 95, 96. But I never finished it because I came in a little late and I was like going, Jimmy Ringo, what kind of Johnny Ringo crap is this? But Gregory Peck made me stay. You know I'm a big fan of Gregory Peck. He will always be my choice to play Batman and
Yes.
Bruce Wayne. He's perfect. The voice, the height, the size, everything. But so actually this week when you hit me up about being able to come back, it's like, you know what? I need to. It's been a long time, and I watched it, and I was surprised at how well it held up. Um, you mentioned something. Is it from a story by Bowers, Roger Corman, and Andre DeToth? Yes, that Roger Corman, the
Mm-hmm.
director of 10,000 $100 films, and Andre DeToth did House of Wax in 3D with one eye and couldn't see the 3D effects. That just struck me as so weird. Roger Corman and Andre DeToth. It's like, what is it? How's the joke go? A priest, a rabbi, and oh, the Muslim term. I can't think of it for the holy man. And Oman, you walk into a bar. Where did those three come together? But anyway, when did you first see it, Joel?
As a young man with my grandfather, of course, because my grandfather showed me a shitload of westerns. Because my grandfather he was retired. For those who don't know, my mom's dad, for years and years and years, was a garbage man, and he fell off the garbage truck and broke his leg. He could
Oh
never
wow.
he could never work like a that kind of job again. He had to have a metal rod inserted into his leg. So when he would we would watch westerns as my grandmother would go to work. He would babysit us, his grandkids, which would be why I would be one of those, obviously. Um, so
Oh
ev-
no.
every Saturday, right, the DNA held up, I swear, Your Honor. Every Saturday, every weekend, I would make it to go over to my grandfather's house, especially after he showed me some westerns, because I fell in love with westerns. Watching the first movie I've told you, first western movie I've ever told you I watched was The Sons of Katie Eller with John Wayne. That's what my grandfather watched. It just happened to be on. And we watched westerns after that. And one Saturday, this Saturday early morning, in fact, this movie, The Gunfighter, had come on. Stunning black and white desert sand, my friend. Perfect setting for Western.
Thinking of you watching that. You
Yes,
you and your desert fetish.
yes.
And
And
you
when
know,
it, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say you wouldn't think that the desert would look that good in black and white, but holy crap, does it look that good in black and white, at least in this film.
Well, that's because you have a really smart cinematographer in Arthur C. Miller. Arthur C. Miller was really good at shooting black and white sand. And the way he would shoot it in different styles. The opening of this movie, it has a bit of a grainy look to it. That's on purpose
Yeah.
because you're made to feel the isolation of the desert in black and white. You're not just getting the black and white here isn't used for shadow and light. It's not used that here at all. It's simply used for isolation tactics. They do this with the three men who are walking through the desert later on a bit in this film. Very well shot, I give Arthur a lot of credit. I give Henry a lot of credit for directing this. And the icing on the cake is Gregory Peck's performance. We covered a Western very similar to this called The Shootist. This has a similar style. What do you think, Butch? Sorry, I'm rambling.
Oh, no, no, you go right ahead. I'll stop you when you're wrong. My understanding is actually this was offered to John Wayne and he turned it down and
Mm,
regretted it. You know, anybody that likes an American Western probably likes John Wayne, or at least can put up with him.
yeah,
John Wayne, you know, I'll make my sister watch this because I'm going to agree with her. John Wayne has a limited range. John Wayne plays
yes,
John
yes.
Wayne, and John Wayne was popular playing John Wayne. There's nothing wrong with that.
Mm,
But John Wayne does not have the range of Gregory Peck. I'm actually
no.
glad John Wayne did turn this movie down
Mhm.
because Gregory Peck, man, he nails it. I mean, you believe in everything in this film that he goes through. You see the isolation. You were saying the black and white was not I forget exactly how you phrased it, but kind of not symbolic. I felt like it was because like
Mhm.
here's Gregory Peck's Jimmy Ringo, and
Mhm.
here's everybody else, the normal people. And there was
Mhm.
this contrast. I mean, he could move amongst them almost like a I don't like a vampire or something, but he wasn't one of them.
No.
So that's what that kind of kept coming back to me thinking of that. Here he was. It was kind of contrasting, and as one thing. Have you ever seen the boys from Brazil?
Yes, we reviewed that on here.
Okay, I thought so, but I couldn't remember for sure. Of course, Gregory Peck, another great role playing
Mhm.
Joseph Mengele, but the mustaches are so similar. There's a couple of times I'm like, is he playing Jimmy Ringo or is he playing Joseph Mengele? But
Uh,
it's just odd. You don't see Gregory Peck with a mustache often.
Yeah. No, you don't. You're not really, he doesn't always wear a must. You're used to seeing him without one forever in most of his roles. To Kill a Mockingbird is an example. Although that is not a Western, it is a great movie.
It is.
Now, yeah, I said this movie isn't used with necessarily for light and shadows. It's more used for isolation effect. And yes, he do, you're right. He walks amongst the people, but he's not a part of them. And my favorite part of this movie to tell that is the ladies coming into the jail, cutting a promo about the gunfighter himself. You get that man out of here. And he goes, yes, I think the sheriff should do something about it. And there's the sheriff, who's playing his best friend. So Gregory Peck's character, Jimmy Ringo, is getting a promo cut on him by some elderly ladies who don't know what the hell he looks like.
I'll tell you something amusing about that. The first old lady, I got her name here just a sec, Mrs. Devlin.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
thought, God, she seems so hateful. And then I'm like, wait a minute, that's Grandma Walton. I said this before on your channel, and I'm going to say it again. I hate the Waltons. I really do. And I dislike that woman as an actress because I don't know. I should look it up to be fair to her. I always felt like something was maybe like she had a stroke or something because she always just looked like, I mean, like someone pooped in her Cheerios. And I mean, she was playing her character here.
Hmm.
Let's do Ellen Corby is her name.
Hmm. Yep.
Uh, uh, a lady I worked with introduced me to the term RBF, and pardon the slight vulgarity here, but resting bitch face. And Grandma Walton had an RBF,
Yes.
and yeah, I love that scene because they're like, "Well, we're going to go talk to Mrs. Peacock or whatever the Pea Feather or whatever that woman's name was," and it's just so ridiculous because I mean, here's these busybodies, running around, and it's like everybody looks to someone else to get something done. And yeah, when they go into the sheriffs and they don't know um, that they're talking to this vicious killer that's just sitting
Hmm.
there, and then
Yeah.
that whole scene, and then at the end he goes, "Oh, don't thank me, thank Mr. Ringo. Thank you, Mr. Ringo." And then you can see it. Oh God, that was I had to pause that because I was laughing so hard. I loved that so much. That was a great scene right there.
Yes, it was so beautifully done too. Everybody acted it the right way. It wasn't overly done. Now, Jimmy Ringo. Now, the big question is because they do mention Wyatt Earp a bunch of times and tube stuff. So is Gregory Peck playing Johnny Ringo here, Butch Rosenbalm?
I don't think so, but you
No,
can
I don't know.
certainly make the acclaim for it because
No.
uh Johnny, I want to make sure I said the right one. Johnny Ringo mysteriously died after the gunfight at the OK Corral.
Yes.
And it's kind of, I don't say it's funny, but I guess it's kind of ironic that excuse me, Jimmy Ringo, God, did I mess that up? I hope I didn't. The real life person died mysteriously. This
Yeah.
character kind of dies mysteriously. Let's put it that way. Oh, sorry, spoiler warning. We're a 70, 80, 90-year-old film. Hey, by the way, before while I'm thinking of it, if anybody has not seen this film, and for some strange reason, my comments, along with Joel, who's a lot smarter, make you want to watch it. It's on Pluto for free, and
Yes,
it is
it is.
good transfer on Pluto because sometimes with streaming services you get really crappy ones,
Yes, you
but you see
do.
a lot of that black and white isolation that Joel's talking about. It was I was impressed with the picture actually, the way how good it looked on Pluto.
Wait, wait do you see the big country? That's even better. Uh, Good movie. But that's next week. I'm doing that one. But this one now, the real life Johnny Ringo was killed after sometime during or after the Vendetta ride, whatever you want to say. Was he killed by Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday? No. Uh, could he have been killed by somebody with the last name Rosenbaum? I don't have proof to confirm that. But no, he most likely killed himself. In all fairness,
Apparently he I remember I was reading something recently talking, I guess, doing some research on this. His family turned their back on him,
yeah, they did.
and he basically had nowhere to go. So I mean the general thought is he did kill himself, but
Yeah.
apparently there was something, and my apologies if anybody hears this and looks it up and I've got it wrong because I'm getting old, my memory doesn't work that well. I was thinking like he was left-handed, and if he killed, but if he killed himself, the gun was in the right
Right
hand.
hand. Yeah.
See, this is why nobody needs to worry when I pull this gun up. I mean, um, there seems like there's something that is isn't kosher with all that. So could I mean honestly, I do like what they do in Tombstone
Mm-hmm.
with Johnny because, well, one, I mean, it's kind of funny because you're building with Wyatt and with Curly Bill, but you've also
Mm-hmm.
got the second command with Doc and Johnny,
Mm-hmm. Hello.
and you build up to the fight with that.
Yeah, the you have Doc Holliday because the discussion with Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday when Doc Holliday's laying in bed is I can't beat him, can I? Now, how historically accurate is Tombstone? We've talked about that, so we're not going to really rehash that here today. If you want to listen to how the accuracy, we're going to put a link to our other video in the description box.
Oh, buddy.
So we're not going to get into that here again. Um, I will say that I agree with you. I think they do a good job of pitting Doc Holliday against Johnny Ringo in the movie. Um, because again, Val Kilmer's Doc Holliday, he's he's playing more of a character called Doc Holliday than he is the man himself. There is similarities, yes. He's not. It's not every bit of it is a character. Again, if you want the more accurate version, go watch Wyatt Earp, the movie Wyatt Earp. Dennis Quaid nailed it. So this here is Jimmy Ringo, not Johnny Ringo. Jimmy Ringo is living the life as a gunfighter, and this is where the gunfighter and I would say the shootist really separate itself. Other than the death itself, number one, Gregory Peck is not dying of an illness. His character isn't, I should say. Whereas John Wayne's character in the shootist is.
JB Books.
Yep, JB Books. And in this movie, the gunfighter has a child has and had a love in the town he was going to. His best friend is also the marshal. Um, John Wayne's character in the shootist, his best friend, his only friend, two friends really is the woman in the movie, and the young boy, the young teenage boy, if you will. They're not his family in that movie. Uh, JB Brooks was a shootist, a sort of a gunfighter, just like our Jimmy Ringo. I'm going to mess up the name too. Don't worry. So Ringo, look, it's not John Wesley Hardin. Okay, that's all you need to know. But that being said, I do love how he's sitting. God, fucking Gregory Peck paces this movie so well. They pace this movie around his character so well, and it never gets boring either at all. You're just sitting there waiting for somebody to challenge him to a duel, and people keep pushing him and pushing him and pushing him. And it's like, he goes, I got this gun under this table. And it's like, oh shit, does he? Like, no, he doesn't. Which this is going to lead to his death, by the way. That's the crazy part about this, is the end of this. We do have a back shooter in this movie. Yes, those happen in westerns, as all storytellers should. By the way, the girl who plays his love interest here, I'm going to hopefully get her name right. Let's see, Helen Westcote, Peggy Walsh is her name, I think, if I'm
Yep.
not messing that up. So yeah, really, really talented actress. I love her and Gregory's interactions together. Very good. And I love the how wild the little boy is too in this movie. He breaks into the door, the hotel room. Um, sorry, what are your thoughts, Butch?
I always thought I was looking at. I thought somebody kind of threw him and had his arm and threw him in there, but
Yeah.
maybe he did kick it out. I didn't catch that. No, yeah, I think she does a good job, and they're very believable. You could see these people as a couple. It's not just
Hmm.
attractive man and attractive woman. I mean, which it is, but um, excuse me. It's a great thing. Quick summary for anybody that's not seen it. Gregory Peck is a gunslinger, or as they used to call him at the time, shootists.
Hmm.
Uh, Going back around, uh, movie starts with somebody, like Joel's talking about trying to get him into a gunfight because he's the fastest gun, or arguably the fastest gun.
Yeah.
And it opens and he kills the. I mean, I think the kid like even gets don't even get the gun, even that far out, and he's already dead. So he's on the run. He goes to this town. I don't. I think he knew the woman was there in the son, but I don't think he knew the his friend was the sheriff. But
Yeah,
that
that's
that
true.
may be that may be just me. Anyway, he wants to meet her, and the sheriff's like trying to get him out of town, and he's like, "Well, I'll go tell her." Blah blah blah. Anyway, it's her deciding to come to see him, and at first she won't. Excuse me, the sheriff doesn't won't tell him he's the girlfriend or former girlfriend is the school teacher. And just,
Yeah.
this movie could derail at any time with some of the stuff. There's there's a couple across the street in a hotel who find out that Jimmy Ringo is in the bar next door. Well, the father believes that Jimmy has killed their son. And he sits up with the
Yes.
rifle. He keeps waiting on him to come out. He keeps waiting on him to come out. And in a lesser director, in a lesser actor, if this weren't people at the top of their game, that would just be a boring ass subplot. I believe the term they use over at the website TV Tropes, a plot coupon where James Bond has to go over here and talk to this pretty person and get some information to go to this person and this not, boom, boom, boom. Um, but it is kind of funny because I honestly kind of forgot about the guy with the rifle a couple of times. And I think
Mhm.
just about every time you just about do, somebody starts to go up and like they cut to him and he's like, oh, that's not him, or oh, I can't get him. Or they start to go out and Jimmy, I forget who's going out. The bartender, Carl Malden, is going out with him, and Jimmy grabs him back in. Oh, I saw the rifle over there, and it's just enough to keep your interest. And
Mhm.
there's actually, I didn't think about it till later. There is a surprising number of characters in this film,
Yes, sir.
but
I,
it doesn't collapse under the weight of them. Of course, Jimmy gets the lion's share. I mean, it's his story.
mhm.
Um, and I will say this. I thought the first time I saw it, and I still think that the ending becomes more and more obvious as the movie goes on. But
Yes.
by the time you're like, okay, yeah, this is what's going to happen, you don't care. You're just enjoying watching these people tell this story. It's kind of like I said when we did the Big Sleep. I've watched
Yes.
the Big Sleep hundreds of times. I have no idea what's going on, and I don't care. I'm just enjoying the story and these people interaction.
Yeah. Funny part about that is I watched The Big Sleep 2 days ago, and my older nephew was over here when I was watching. Me and Julie were watching. He goes, "What's this movie about?" I said, "Just shut the up and watch the film." So,
I got I got to watch Big Sleep when I was in college in one of my lit classes,
there you
and
go.
that was like the best two classes. I just sitting there like, man, can I go get some popcorn? I'll be right back. Can you pause this?
Uh, by the way,
We
you
got.
are one. Sorry if I cut you off. You're
No,
one
you're good.
thousand. You're 1,000% correct. He did not know his friend was the sheriff in this town.
Okay.
Um, because I watched this movie like 4 times before I asked you about this. I rewatched it 4 times because it's so fucking good. But you're right. The storytellers do a great job of making the most of any of their characters. Carl Malden is a treat in this movie. Um, by the way, I have a theory to throw by you. He he talks. They talk about the boy being shot, right? Their son being killed.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You ever think it was the sheriff himself who killed the little boy?
Could have been because the sheriff and Jimmy used to be in the gang together.
Mhm.
And I'll tell you something that came to mind in just a second. And the sheriff, they apparently they were somewhere, something really bad happened, and they all got ran off. And sheriff says, I don't know, about midway through the film, I kept running, and then I finally got here. And he talks about this little girl getting shot, and he asks Jimmy, did you see her? And Jimmy said, yeah, I saw her. And the sheriff goes, I could have killed her. You could have killed her. Any of us could have killed her.
Yeah.
And you see that and you hear that the change in that character. I mean, anybody knows a little bit about the Old West. The hero of this town is the bad guy of that town. And it didn't take long. You didn't have, depending on what time it was, you didn't have the telegraph telling them that Joel robbed the bank of Tombstone, or Butch shot somebody in San Francisco. So, and plus, it wasn't like they carried driver's license or ID around. So you just come into town and, well, I used to be Joel Sains, but now I'm William Shatner. Yeah, that's it. So I'll tell you what this movie reminded me of, Joel. You've played Red Dead Redemption 2, right?
Still do.
Jimmy Ringo is John Marston.
Yeah.
The wife is the girlfriend. The son is the son. The sheriff is kind of a mix of Arthur and the sheriff of that first town that he's in Red Dead 1. And it
Yeah.
made, and the gang, they were in a gang together, and things went bad, and they like there's the Blackwater massacre. Of course, we didn't know about that in Red Dead One, and I just kept thinking this kind of reminds me of Red Dead, the backstory anyway. Of course,
Yeah,
it's not that uncommon of a backstory where the bad guys get caught and have to go their separate ways. There's a lot of films like that.
yeah, yeah. This You're right. This movie does sort of remind me of Red Dead 2 and a mixture of Red Dead 1. Where now the ending of this movie, where he's shot in the back. Now, the difference between the ending of this and the shootist is the people who shoot at JD Books all get killed in the movie. With this, the guy who shoots Jimmy Ringo in the back lives, but he goes, I drew first, Sheriff. I drew first, and you tell it that way. He goes, I don't want you to hang. I want you to live as I live, looking over your shoulder. And you want to talk about the coldest thing?
Yeah, it comes off, the Jimmy's getting ready to leave. He's gonna come back in a year, meet up with the his former girlfriend, and the son knows who his dad is, and you're kind of okay, maybe we're gonna have a maybe not a happy ending, but a hopeful ending. And the guy that got shot at the beginning, his three brothers have been going the whole film trying to catch Jimmy. Well, they catch
Mhm.
them. You're like, oh, okay, maybe. By the way, Joel, did you
Mhm.
recognize any of those brothers?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Alvin Howe Jr., the skipper himself.
Yeah. I didn't recognize him. I didn't notice until I was looking at the cast. I'm like, what? But anyway, Jimmy's going to leave, and yeah, he gets shot in the back by this local tough guy. Another title for this film would be the Curse of the Fastest Gun, which is a
Yes.
reoccurring theme in a lot of Western films and literature and video games and role playing games and everything. But yeah, you're like you first it comes across, at least it always does to me. Ringo's laying there, and they've got the guy that shot him, and he's right there,
Yeah.
and he tells the sheriff, "Nope, nope, I drew first," and you tell her what, and you're thinking, "Oh, okay, he wants to, he doesn't want him to to have to suffer this," and then he just looks at him and tells him what you said. He's like, "I want you to know what it feels like to be the fastest gun. Want you to know what it feels like to be hunted." And honestly, why he was telling this, and I always get a little bit of a cold chill. I'm like, damn, that is the meanest thing he does in this whole film.
Yes, it
It
is.
made me think of the song "Bad Company" by Bad Company, where it says,
Yeah.
"Picked up a gun and threw away the sun." I think is how the line goes.
Yeah.
And I mean, you see this in the first part of the film. Well, and really through it all, but I mean, you actually see it in the first part when Jimmy's going from the town where he killed the guy, and the three brothers are after him to the town where the girlfriend is. But I mean, honestly, he's almost cursing him with his dying breath. And when he dies, the sheriff turns around and he pulls out that gun and he grabs that kid and he's throwing him in the barn. Honestly, I thought the sheriff was going to beat him to death right then and there. What's
Mhm.
funny is I like to read the synopsis on Wikipedia. Just
Mhm.
to, sometimes oh yeah, I didn't catch that, or oh yeah, that's interesting. And they say, oh, he beats him severely. I'm like, he punches him twice, maybe three times. He doesn't. I mean, one time, at least one time, he does pistol whipping. I
Mhm.
wouldn't say he beats him severely, but I was expecting him to just beat that kid to death right then and there. Oh, he's trying to get away.
Mhm. He beats him unconscious, which is pretty cold for a sheriff. I always take that because Jimmy Ringo, Gregory Peck's character, says the fastest gun he ever came up against was his best friend. He didn't come up against him, but to him, his best friend, who's the sheriff, is the fastest gun. And I always feel by the end of now during the whole film, the sheriff is really nice. The meanest the sheriff is when he's hitting that kid. And I honestly, when I saw that as a kid, and even seeing it now, going back, It reminds me of my favorite outlaw, John Wesley Hardin, because John Wesley Hardin was a cold-hearted son of a bitch. The difference is, if that were John Wesley Hardin, that kid would be dead. That's the difference.
No, there wouldn't be
Uh,
no beating. He'd have about 5 bullets.
yeah, he'd have it looked like the guy from Pell, the preacher from Pell Riders back. That's what that would look like. So, but I guess you could trauma along the lines of what the real life Wyatt Earp, a pistol whipping, if you will, the meanness of it, the beating. But it is a very he renders the kid unconscious, and by the end of the movie, you're seeing somebody ride out of town. Is it the kid? Or is it Gregory Peck's character riding off into wherever heaven or hell or purgatory or whatever the metaphor is? Um, I'll leave that to the audience to decide because I feel that's part of the lore of this movie. The Gunfighter is a great western to watch because you're right. Its titles could be it could be the always significantly the significance of the word the gunfighter isn't necessarily just describing Gregory Peck. It's anybody who lives the life of that style that we see, and we see this in the shootist. It's the difference between the two movies that set them apart as both great and both unique.
Yeah, I was that would make a great double feature for somebody that was,
Yes.
I guess, maybe in a slightly depressed mood, or maybe wants to be in a slightly depressed mood. Because the difference is, I think, there's not really any happy ending here, other than maybe for the little boy finding out his dad was that vicious. Because she I forget what Welch, was that the name she was using? And at
Yeah.
the end, she says Mrs. Ringo and his
Yes.
son
This is
at the
Ringo.
funeral, and they start playing. I think it's Rock of Ages, and
Yes.
start singing it. And like you said, they start you cuts to somebody on a horse riding through the desert, or at least through a desolate landscape. I
Hmm.
thought it was too thin to be the kid that shot John,
Yeah, it is.
but it can be. Um,
Yeah.
let me ask you this: the kid, he before he decides to leave, Jimmy wants to interact with his son, and he's like, "Who's the fastest gun?" Well, the, he talks about, well, that's the second fastest, and then he says to me, the way he says that the sheriff was the fastest, I felt like he was just doing his friend, trying to talk his friend up. I felt like it wasn't real. What do you think on that?
I think they did not want to use a real life gunfighter's name.
Probably.
And the name they probably would have used, because it's a name you do hear in Hollywood, well, is John Wesley Hardin. Uh, my favorite outlaw because he was very fast. And he wasn't killed as an outlaw. He was killed when he was an attorney. So go figure.
So wait a minute. So probably, arguably, two of Gregory Peck's greatest roles were John Wesley Hardin. He played the gunfighter, and he played a great lawyer.
Now wait a second. Wait a second. You've seen the big country, haven't you? That's a great part of
Uh,
his. There you
I,
go. There you go. There you go. That
you
and
know, you ever seen? Was it there was a Crooked Man? I think is the name of it, with Kurt Russell and I'm not Kurt Russell. Spartacus.
oh, I know
Kirk
you're talking
Douglas.
about Kirk Douglas. Yeah, yeah.
And I forget.
Not in a long time.
I can't remember who plays the warden, who is the Crooked Man, or at least one of the Crooked Men. I was thinking Gregory Peck would have been awesome as the warden.
Yeah,
Gre-
yeah.
Gregory Peck makes a villain. No, yes, he's my choice for Batman, but you know what? He could also play Superman, I think, just fine.
Hmm.
He's like your favorite actor, Henry Fonda. Henry Fonda makes
Hmm.
a hellacious villain. I mean, he's my favorite part of Once Upon a Time in the West.
Hmm.
I mean, it's by no means a bad film. I enjoy it, but he makes it for me. Just him playing so against type. And I'm thinking, off the top of my head, I didn't research it. Mengele in Bullets from Brazil is the only time I can remember Gregory Peck playing a bad guy, or straight up bad guy. Not that Jimmy's a good guy, but
Yeah. Well, the reason he took that, we talked about this in our review of Boys from Brazil. The reason he took the role, he wanted to work with Florence Olivier.
yeah. And who
So,
wouldn't?
yeah, I mean, my God, that's like a dream come true, right? Oh my God. What do you give this movie? Scale 1 to 10.
I'll give it a 9. It's by no means bad. I'm sure I want to. I seem like I give a lot of films a really high rating. So I'm gonna anymore. I'm gonna try to save my favorites, like Wild Bunch, which is my
Yeah,
favorite Western.
that's
That's
a
a
10. That's a 10.
that's a 10.
Yeah.
The Shootist is, I don't know, maybe a 8, eight and
Hmm.
a half. I hate it when people start. It's an 8 and 3/7 and 16/5, and again, is there anything wrong with the Shootist? No, no. What's the Will Penny with Charlton Heston?
Oh yeah, my
If
God.
and I think I said this when we did it. If he had got the girl, so to speak, or stayed with the girl, I think that would be a better regarded film.
Yeah.
That is something I feel like films of the '70s and a little bit in the '60s. You to me, you really start seeing the changeover at Night of the Living Dead with the downer ending.
Hmm.
It's not, hey, everything's wonderful and happy and shit. No, no, sometimes it sucks.
Okay.
And Will Penny is a perfect example, I think, of that. It's not a bad ending. I mean, the main characters are alive, the bad guys are dead, but what you were kind of hoping for didn't happen. And to me, that is much more realistic.
Yeah. I, I'll say this: my two favorite westerns of all time. The number one, number two, I reviewed here by myself. It's called The Great Silence. The Great Silence has an ambiguous ending. The hero dies. Silence dies at the end, and it's a snow western. Now, Sergio Kabuki, he often zigged when he should have zagged. And I say this. Now, do I respect his decision to do what he did? Yes, because at the time that he did it, you did not see the hero die a lot in westerns. Not much.
Yeah.
In that movie, you do. Now, can you put the good ending on? Yes. And I do put the good ending on, but I still do respect Sergio's decision the way he went it because
Yeah.
nobody had done it at that time.
We were going to do that, and I actually still have that downloaded to my Kindle. I think you directed me to maybe the Internet Archive or something.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't, it seems something happened and we never got to do it.
yeah.
But yeah,
Although,
that was the first time I'd ever heard of or seen that one.
yeah, it's my second favorite western. It's a snow western. It's really good. My God, that movie. But yeah, it's the good ending is the sheriff comes back and helps Silence deal with the outlaws.
Hmm.
The bad ending, the ambiguous ending, the sheriff never comes back, obviously. So there's that. Um, you can make the case he betrayed him. You can make the case he didn't. Whatever you want to roll with it. But it is an interesting film. It's a very well shot film. Ennio Morricone does his score, to me, his best score ever, and that's saying something for that film. But this movie is also beautifully scored by Alfred Newman. Sorry, I give this movie a 9.5. Really, really fun film
Yeah.
and really well shot. I love the again. I'm a sucker for the sand, as Butch knows. I don't live without it, especially when I go to sleep. So there's, but yeah,
Find some in his eye.
that's right. That's right. Let me see. Is there
Hey,
anything?
where did you watch this? What did you watch it on Pluto?
I actually watched this on Tubi.
Oh, okay.
I
Um,
was, which
on one on Pluto. Um, I noticed something, and I wanted to ask you about it. the sheriff and Jimmy both have pretty bushy mustaches, and the sheriff's, and I'm just doing this for demonstration purposes.
Hmm.
He's got a really big mustache. I mean, like Sam Elliott mustache. And
Yes.
notice how I'm talking. Of course, I'm trying to, enunciate a little bit. You see how my jaw keeps moving and everything? I was beginning to wonder if the sheriff was dubbed. So
Well,
I mean, you barely saw his jaw move. You barely saw his lips move. And as
yeah.
far as I could tell, he wasn't. And I thought, well, maybe it's just, compression or something in the streaming, or because there were
No.
times they actually showed him from down here, so the mustache is up here. And yeah, he was just talking. Yeah, he was going on, and you could see it, but I don't know.
No.
Maybe it's just lights and camera angles. I don't know.
He most likely was. Mallard Mitchell was a Cuban-born actor, so he probably
Mm.
was the.
I'm just imagining the sheriff with, sounding like Ricky Ricardo.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Please
I
send any upset letters to Jules Sains. He's right here on my video, on my screen. Don't send them to me.
Yeah,
But
send him to the host, that son of a bitch. Oh wait, that's me. Anyway. Oh my God.
quick jump back to movies with downer endings. The Wild Bunch.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, you don't get much downer than that. Honestly, I'll tell you something, Joe. I don't know if I told you that when we did Wild Bunch. Do you want to know why I first watched The Wild Bunch?
Hmm.
Stephen King references in his book Dance Macabre.
Yeah.
He talks about Sam Peckinpah blowing Ernest Borgnine into little itty bitty pieces at the ending of The Wild Bunch, and I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? That's a western.
Yeah.
So this was 80s, early 90s, no internet. Uh, I think maybe I rented it, maybe it came on TV. I don't remember. But I spent a couple of years hunting it down to watch it, and I think the reason, Wild Bunch is my favorite western, Dawn of the Dead is my favorite horror movie. Both of those films, I remember watching them and going, that's not how you're. No, that's not. This isn't how this film's supposed to end. This isn't how this film. You can't show that. And it left such both of them left such an impact on me that it forever. I for a long while, I would kind of laugh at John Wayne films. El Dorado amusingly has come on twice recently. It was on Grit a while back, and then it was on Pluto tonight. And I love that film. I really do. It's a pretty fun film for the most part. It's not the character study Rio Bravo is,
No, it's not.
but neither one of them film. It's. I don't want to say this insultingly. Rio Bravo and El Dorado are like the kiddie versions of westerns, and then the Wild Bunch is the dirty, gritty, really reality of it.
Yeah. I would say the Wild Bunch, the Great Silence are sort of your real westerns. They're your, in a lot of ways. Um, Once Upon a Time in the West has a real, it's more of a musical, real feel western, but it has great acting in it
Oh
from
yeah,
start to finish. Um, Again, some of the gritty westerns did come out. I
oh
mean,
yeah.
well after the '60s, but again, like I've said, you couldn't get arrested for making a western in the '70s.
Unless
Uh,
you're Clint Eastwood.
yeah, unless you were Clint Eastwood, then you could, because he was good. Uh, well, Bronson made some great westerns in the
Very well.
'70s.
I was actually getting ready to say that. There was a few there. Was it
Yeah.
Breakheart Pass? What's the one where he's on the train and White
Yes,
Buffalo? And
we
so
did
yeah,
White Buffalo. Yeah, we reviewed White
we
Buffalo, me and
did.
Butch.
I
We
mean, there's a few,
Breakheart.
but there's a few in there's but not many.
Yeah, Deadwood is a
John Wayne's
great.
right. The Wild Bunch.
Yeah, Deadwood's a great series, by the way, for those who haven't watched it. But yeah, let's see. I have no more questions for you. Is there anything you want to add before we go?
Let me check my notes real quick. Day day. He doesn't look so tough to me. I thought that that was became a reoccurring theme,
Yes.
and the turns into one of my favorite lines when Jimmy goes into the town where his buddy's the sheriff and his girlfriend's there. The deputy, he doesn't look too tough to me, and the sheriff goes, "Yeah, that's how it always starts," and that's how it started at the beginning of the film. This punk, you don't look so tough to me. 5 minutes later, that punk's dead. And the sheriff says that's how it starts. He doesn't look that tough. And but the deputy, being genre savvy, is like, well, this is where it's going to end with me. And that's it. He doesn't. I mean, he interacts. That's who Ringo pulls back when he sees the rifle sticking out of the hotel. It's the deputy. And but it was just kind of cool because sometimes movies westerns for or seem to be more prone to it, where you get this
Hmm.
recurring, something works once, so let's just keep doing it. Rio Bravo, El Dorado, Rio Lobo, Assault on
Hmm.
Precinct 13, Escape from Mars. But all films I have enjoyed it to one time or other. But
Yeah.
I just love the fact that the deputy was smart enough to go, let's go stop here. And it did. That was it.
Yes.
It broke the
John
trap.
Carpenter. John Carpenter made an outer space western. That is true.
You know, according to my friend here, Escape from Mars started out as the third Snake Plissken film.
I've heard that. I've heard that. It didn't end up that way. But
No, I really wish. I know they're both kind of old, and Kurt Russell said repeatedly he's too old to play Snake, and I say bullshit.
yeah,
I'll watch you sit there and be the mastermind, behind the gang or something. I don't. If John Carpenter and Kurt Russell gave us one more good Snake Plissken film, I I don't know if I'd die a happy man, but I'd be happier when I died. I'll say that.
yeah.
I came across a post I had on Facebook from years ago, and it was my two favorite directors, John Carpenter and George Romero, finally worked together. Snake Plissken in Escape from the Dead. And I was like, by the
Yeah,
way, wearing my George Romero reading glasses for that. But
yes.
yeah, give us one more, guys. I'll be there. I'll be there opening weekend. I'll buy multiple. I'll buy as many multiple tickets as I can.
Yeah, anybody would. I think that's the thing. Um, George A. Romero has the best Resident Evil script that was never made into a movie. Uh, but
Oh
but he,
God, it makes me sick sometimes when I look at that. I have that stored on my computer. I've had it for about 20 years,
mhm.
and I mean maybe not exactly 20, so nobody get upset. And the piece of garbage Resident films that we got. I
Yeah,
get it. Your girlfriend's attractive, and you like her. You like watching her wear boots and kick people's ass. I mean, I can enjoy that too. Just don't call it Resident Evil.
yeah. The crazy part about that is that they weren't even married or dating when the first movie happened.
No,
It's just like, look, if you wanted to make a zombie film, fine. Just you don't have to call it Resident Evil.
yeah,
So,
but
what do you do? What do you do? That is Butch Rosenbalm. I've been Joel
and that is
Staines,
still a
obviously.
thing.
Yeah, that's right. So send all your complaints to me, not Butch. He's a busy man, by the way. He doesn't have time for your complaints. I do. I have all the time in the world, mostly when I'm not doing stuff with my kids. And I will be damn sure to be doing stuff with my kids when you write me the nasty letters you're going to write me. I will find time to be with my kids. I will make it a point to be with them. Also, to do the laundry, the dishes, and if you leave me a nasty message, I'll be like, "Oh, that's nice." Um, no, this has been a lot of
So your
fun.
kids are like, please send him rotten letters so he'll spend time with us.
Yeah, yes, yes, that's uh, no, but it's this has been a lot of fun. Butch, buddy, you have a safe night. Take care, dude.
You as well, my friend. Thanks again.
Yep. Bye bye.
Bye.